Welcome back to Gotcha Interact. Today we're going to be going through another pre-release analysis going through the kit of the character Kachina. Now, in recent videos, we talked about Kinich, another 5.0 character that will be dropping as a 5-star. Recently, we just put out a video talking about Mualani, and now we're going to be talking about the Geo 4-star Kachina. Now, looking first and foremost, we're going to look at her kit, looking at just reading through everything that she has, her passes, as well as her skill bursts and normal attacks, basically how the character is going to work word for word, and then we'll kind of give you our first thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Her normal attack's not going to be anything special, so it's just the consecutive strikes that she does, so nothing crazy about the normal attacks. She is a polearm character, but going right over into her skill, it states that it will summon Turbo Twirly, and then if held and unleashed, Kachina will summon it and ride Turbo Twirly as well. When unleashed, Kachina will gain 60 Night Points and enter the Night Soul's Blessing state for herself. Turbo Twirly's various actions consume Kachina's Night Soul points, and this state will last until these points have been depleted. Looking at Turbo Twirly, this can exist independently or be ridden and operated by Kachina. When Turbo Twirly is present, Kachina's elemental skill, Go Turbo Twirly, will change to mounting-dismounting options. When present independent of Kachina, it will hit the ground at intervals, dealing AoE damage based on Kachina's defense that also has the Night Soul attribute. When Kachina is riding the Turbo Twirly instead, she can control its fast movement, climb, and use normal attacks to hit the ground, dealing AoE Geo damage as well, based on Kachina's defense that also has the Night Soul alignment as well. Turbo Twirly will disappear once Kachina's Night Soul's Blessing state ends, and it is considered a Geo construct. One Turbo Twirly can exist on the field at any one time.
Looking at Kachina's burst, this is called Time to Get Serious. This just states that Kachina will strike the ground dealing AoE Geo damage based on her defense and will also create a Turbo Drill field. Now this field will increase Turbo Twirly's attack AoE and its movement speed when Kachina is riding it. Also, if Kachina's own Turbo Twirly is present when this is used, Turbo Twirly will be summoned to her side. Quickly looking at her passives, her first one is called Mountain Echoes, and this just states that when nearby party members trigger a Night Soul burst, Kachina's Geo damage bonus is increased by 20% for 12 seconds.
Her second passive talent is called the Weight of Stone, and this states that Turbo Twirly's damage is increased by 20% of Kachina's defense. Like the other characters, we won't really talk about the third passive talent, and like most characters, we don't usually either. So now jumping right into just our first and foremost thoughts, looking at the character, just we've read it, now let's talk about it. There's a lot to kind of unpack here. I see some off-field Geo, obviously that's going to be pretty good, especially the AoE. I'm originally thinking because I have the character, Navia, so good Navia teammate. She is based off of defense, so she'll probably work in more mono Geo teams, so something like an Ito team could be a good idea. You know, it's just an extra character in there. It does seem, though, that she is based more on her personal damage, so that is some kind of something that you're going to want to keep in mind. But thinking of Rift, considering she is a little bit more personal damage for you, and I kind of, because we do play together and I know Rift pretty well, I know that if he had Chiori, he would actually use Chiori with this specific character, Kachina. I already know that because there's probably, at least I'm going to go out on a limb, Rift, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because at least it seems a little bit here that it is considered a Geo construct with that skill, and I can just see it in my mind using Chiori already with a 4-star, kind of trying to get the most out of a cool idea between a 4-star and a 5-star, using the 5-star as a support, using the 4-star as the on-field character. You know, I can see some really good synergies between those two, kind of some cool teams that people can try to do. But I think, you know, for me, if I do get this character, people who don't have like a Zhongli or another really good Geo support like Chiori or Albedo can use this character for off-field application for Geo for their Navias. So I'm kind of thinking of myself as well as maybe some other people, especially people who love to play around with 4-stars like Rift. So what are you thinking, Rift? Was I on the ball a little bit, or also what are your thoughts?
Hey, you weren't on the ball a little bit. You kind of called me out really soon because, like you said, the first thing that came to my mind when you were reading the skill was, oh, it's a Geo construct. Yes, Chiori. And you just called me out like that. So I thought that was pretty funny. But no, on a more serious note, yes, I think, as funny as that it was, yeah, Chiori will probably, you know, is going to work pretty well with that, especially like Kachina off field, Chiori off field. Maybe you can do like a double Geo, especially, you know, the free to play option. If you don't have Zhongli, usually people do the Zhongli Chiori dynamic duo together. Maybe using Kachina here instead of Zhongli is just a more free to play option for a double Geo type team with another double element in the remaining 2 slots. Another thing, though, and you brought up Navia, I think that's good is, and we talked about this actually the other day, Vixen, was you liked how that Kachina is constantly applying Geo from off field, which we don't really see in a lot of the 4 stars. I mean, Goro's not doing that, Yunjin's not doing that, and let alone other Geo characters. I mean, really the only consistent and actually good Geo appliers from off field are all 5 stars. So seeing this in Kachina, a 4-star character, is actually going to be pretty cool, just because, like you mentioned, the Navia team and being able to cause crystallize that much more often. I think she'll naturally make a great free-to-play option to throw with Navia. And considering Navia's on the banner right now, or for not very long once this video does go out, if Navia is a character you've been looking at for a while, then, I mean, she's a great pull already. Like, Navia is just a great character. And then with Kachina coming out soon in 5.0, I think, that's a great character to also pair with her, and then just use some other, core elements for some crystallize reactions. And hey, you got yourself a team right there. As well as the fact that I like how Kachina is very consistent in the kit. When we looked over the stuff, I liked to see that in the skill, the damage is based on defense, but then it's in the burst as well. It's also scaling on defense. It's not like you have one attack, one defense, like what we see in Albedo. And that was another thing I liked about Chiori when she came out. There was no split scaling. It was more of just focus into one thing. You can hyper invest and you get a lot of return on investment with it. And I'm seeing that here in Kachina's kit, because it's not like it's splitting, right? And that's a good sign to me. Am I saying her damage is going to be out of this world? Probably not, because 2 main reasons. She's a 4-star and she's Geo. So like, that's the argument people are going to make. And that's a fair argument, because Geo just doesn't have a great track record, right? Navia is amazing because she's Navia. It's not like Geo, it's just Navia has insane multipliers. And so I think Kachina is just a great character overall. Now, there could be changes in the betas and up until, she comes out. They can upgrade her, they could nerf her. We'll just have to see. But I just, looking at this kit, my first impression is really good in my personal opinion. I can't wait to get this character and try all different, just all kinds of different things out.
Well, to probably your actually probably happiness, and you're probably happy to hear this, from what I saw, it didn't seem like she got touched, I believe, in the first go of things, or she either got like a slight buff. So if anything, it seems like they kind of like where she is. And usually with some newer 4-stars and how they've kind of been using the 4-stars and kind of bringing them out, they're not your typical 4-stars that we've had, a long time ago, where they were kind of practically almost useless. But now it seems like the 4-stars are actually kind of packing either a punch, or they're actually really good supports. So I think that in general, that you could probably get a really good 4-star character out of this. Once again, like you said, you're probably not going to be towering over other characters with this character, but it will be something fun to have, fun to use, fun to try out with different teams. So I think we're both pretty excited for what this character can kind of come out with. If you guys do have any other ideas, what you guys are expecting from this 4-star, if you guys aren't expecting anything, then that's fine too. But please go ahead and let us know down in the comments how you feel about the character, what you'd like to see from her, maybe what teams you're going to try to use. With all that out of the way, thank you guys for watching the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.